Welcome back to Champs after a 3-week half-term break. I'm Ellie Bear, I'm your host. We are back with 2 games of League of Legends today. We also have Overwatch being played on our sister stream of Women in Esports, which you can find at twitch.tv/WI Esports. Hopefully one of our lovely mods can put that in the chat, so you guys can check that out. So today's games are the first games of the before half-term. We were in the Swiss form. The game from Group A, which is our first game, is going to be KE6 Vanguard versus Wilberforce Wolves Guttersnipes. The game from Group B is going to be Vector Warriors versus Farnborough 6 Builds. Joining me today to discuss these matchups and to give us some really hype action, we've got Rory B and Mr. Fluffy Bunny. So welcome on in, guys.
Hey.
Hello.
Yeah, thanks for the introduction. And we were a little bit late running into this one, but I'm pretty excited going into it, especially first games of group stages. I mean, I guess we're gonna kick it off with a bang. I hope.
I hope so as well. I know that we are running a little bit low on time, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly ask you, Rory.
Yes.
Vanguard have won every game in the bracket so far. Wilberforce
Yep.
have only won 2 of 3. It kind of seems a little bit obvious when you look at the statistics. Are you going Vanguard or are you going Wilberforce? Where are we heading?
You know what? I'm going for the Guttersnipes because I prefer the name. I think it's an excellent name, and there's some pro strategy and teamwork behind picking a good name. So I think they're going to be coordinated and come out ahead.
And what about you, Fluffy Bunny?
I am actually liking the looks of Vanguard. I think the top laner and Bond having the ability to play both tanks and carry roles is just going to bring versatility. It's going to give them maybe a bit of an advantage in the drafting phase as well. So maybe they can play around and they've got a bit of experience together as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Vanguard. I think. So.
Yeah, so we've got one from both sides there. I think we're ready to go into picks and bans. I'm not
Excellent.
We'll see if we can kick it off, unless they want to tell us that we've got a little bit more time.
Well, until that goes through, not being the most exciting patch the last week, truth be told. Few minor changes here and there, to be honest. Blitzcrank once again getting hit with another jungle nerf because somehow they made him a really good jungler and then backpedaled a bit on that. And Corky got a few scaling buffs, which he didn't really need. He struggled in the early game. So yeah, nothing too drastic. Belveth was the only meta pick that really got hit by her E cooldown going up 2 seconds. So now it's a 26-second basic ability. And that's kind of ridiculous. No chance of her laning anymore.
So I think it's worth saying as well, if you've come for some Cassante play, unfortunately, he is still banned until the league admin overlords tell us otherwise. So if you've come for some of that, unfortunately, you will not be seeing any today. I know we are still on the Worlds patch, and hopefully we're going to see some really, really interesting matchups. Be one of them.
The thing is, I've seen a lot of Cassante in my games. Right, I've been trying to push for Diamond the last 3 games and lost 7 in a row yesterday, so I've given up on that dream. But I've seen a lot of Cassante, and he hasn't really done anything. So I don't think he'd be picked anyway, but he's still fun, and in a few weeks we hopefully get to see him be picked.
Wicked. Well, we've just been informed that it's time for picks and bans. I'll let you two take it away. Enjoy your game, and I'm sure we're going to have loads to talk about afterwards.
Yeah.
So we're getting into draft immediately. Yorick, Ezreal, not really priority picks in the meta, but more solo carry potential getting banned out, and that's what I'm kind of expecting from this early series, early on in the tournament strategy.
Yeah, you've still got to be careful though of what could come out of the bot lane here. I mean, when you look at Vanguard, the main carry potential does come out of pair in that bot lane. So you've got to think about whether we're going to see some bot-sided focus, or as we see 2 ADCs getting banned immediately by Wilberforce. So
Yeah, and the Misfortune, one of Pair's best. So it makes complete sense. They've put in the work, they've done their scouting, they're just target banning right now.
Yeah, and I think when we're still in the early parts of the group stages, going for some target bans until you learn how teams kind of play around each other, it makes a little bit of sense, a bit of a safer approach to the pick and ban phase.
Oh, definitely. Seeing solo lanes only banned out from Vanguard means maybe they're just thinking of priority picking a carry. A Shen is a bit surprising, not normally seen in the current meta or as first pick. That can be flexed to multiple roles, so not the worst going into a competitive game.
Yeah, Shen's a really good place to start as well because, like you said, he can be flexed, and it gives you that option to have a strong split pusher as well. Because if you do put him in the top lane, then he could be pretty hard to match and obviously gets that free teleport without having to wait for that 14-minute teleport upgrade that you get now.
Mm-hmm. So. And I'm really liking. So Vel'Koz has really only seen success this year in the bot lane. And Tristana Vel'Koz, that is kill. That is full damage. Full, just throw yourself at them with an AD carry. And Varus is being answered just to match the Vel'Koz's range, to be a bit safer of the Tristana, and have a bit of engage, which your top lane's currently lacking.
Yeah, and sure, you can worry about Varus' lack of mobility a little bit, but we see the Seraphine getting drafted there, and we've got the Shen Stand United to help out as well. So if that engage does come from the Tristana, we've got some tools to kind of maybe deal with it. But Evelynn being picked up, and again, very scary jungler that can definitely take over games if she's given the chance to do so, I find.
Yeah, Evelynn is actually really strong. She got buffs to her Q this patch, and her charm duration's gone up by an extra quarter of a second. Both really nice things. But picking Eve into a team with a Shen on it is a bit scary, because once Shen has 2 points in his ult, that's an 800 damage shield. They're not going to be in execute range for the R. It's going to be so tricky to find those openings.
I'm surprised we've seen a Master Yi ban now from Wilberforce here. And Blitz being banned by Vanguard. Do you think they're expecting the Vel'Koz to go into the mid lane then?
It must be, especially with Evelynn picked. They don't think there's going to be an off-meta Blitz jungle or whatever. It's very interesting, this ban phase, because Yi normally wants to scale at the same speed as Evelynn. Yeah. So normally, if you're playing Evelynn, you want to ban out those early game champions like Sin, Hecarim, who show you a bit of disaster with the invades. And then Blitz getting banned, they're really scared of an isolate lane.
Yeah, but
so they're scared of.
Sorry, you've got to be worried about that. Hecarim, even Nocturne as well. Those two champions pair really well with the Shen as well. So
definitely,
I think one of them being banned would have been a bit more normal, I guess, a bit more meta. What you'd expect. Yeah. And it's a Gwen in the top lane, so they're looking to fight.
Yeah, they're looking to fight, and they've currently drafted a lot of AP, a lot of damage. Great if you can get on top of them, but I feel like Wilberforce Wolves might struggle a bit getting on top of anyone with this draft. They have no great engage outside of maybe a Vel'Koz or Gwen just running at you with W. It's a bit spooky how they're going to round out their comp, as Lux and Udyr round out Vanguard's comp. Just really good zoning and area denial from Vanguard.
Yeah, and we see Yuumi being the last pick, which is going to go on the Tristana, which implicates that the Vel'Koz will then slide into the mid lane, and it's just more AP stacked on. So a lot of weight and pressure going into the Tristana pick onto, like you said, a back line that's going to be very far back in the Varus and the Lux and the Seraphine, and a front line that's got the tools to stop you from getting to them as well. So this could be a very tricky draft for Wilberforce to pull off. I think I definitely prefer Vanguard's draft. And I don't want to point fingers here, but I'm definitely favouring my pick after looking at the draft phase over who's going to come out on top here.
I may have to change sides immediately. This is the fastest I've ever jumped ship on a prediction, and that serves me right for predicting based on someone's name. So Vanguard have got everything. They've got the protection, they've got the engage, and they've got the sustained damage. Wolves will find an entry by poking down with that Vel'Koz and getting a catch with that Yuumi sitting on a Gwen. Otherwise, I'm really scared on how they're going to just enact their game plan.
Yeah, I think we're going to bring Ellie Bear back in and see if she's got any thoughts on the draft.
So I did a little bit of research on Vanguard, obviously, when I was doing my preparation. This has got to be a Vanguard game. Nevi is all about the enchanters. Seraphine is quite a huge pick for him. It's quite a regular pick as well. You know, Supsa has been playing nothing but Lux in solo queue as it is, and we all know how strong Varus is at the moment anyway. So I honestly think that this is going to be really, really heavily sided towards Vanguard. I mean, I can see where Guttersnipes is going. I'm not big on the Udyr. I'm not an Udyr fan. I don't know how I feel about that in comparison to other champions that could have been picked in favour. But we're just going to see how that pans out. I mean,
I don't think it's all doom and gloom though, right? If we do try look for the light at the end of the tunnel, Tristana paired with Yuumi is one of my favourite solo QS aggressive bot lanes to go with. And sure, Varus Lux can stand really far back, Varus Seraphine can do the same, but if the Tristana can get on them, it's a lot of burst potential, she can get reset really easy, and if you bring that Evelynn into the lane as well, they can try and snowball the bot lane, put Pair on the back foot, and then maybe try and keep Vanguard behind if Pair is the known carry, and then snowball that into maybe some Dragon Control early game, and play to their bot lane.
Yeah, I completely agree. And there's an important thing to mention. We were talking about team comps and how Vanguard have the apparently stronger team comp. That's in the mid or late game. Yeah. If Wilberforce Wolves are able just to snowball the early game, get a massive lead to where you just win the fight with your wallet, then they'll just steamroll.
So it's probably... Oh, sorry, I'll let you carry on.
I was just saying, if we go back to the maiden days of League of Legends, Tristana was the original hyper carry. So if you do get a couple of early items on her, she can be really difficult to deal with as well, and she'll shred through that Shen and that Udyr. And like Ali said, Udyr maybe not the best pick to fill out that front line.
So it's probably worth noting as well that while we've got some comfort picks on Vanguard, there are comfort picks on the Guttersnipes as well. So Sigmar is actually a Yuumi main. I mean, I know that's not really a statistic, but you know, you've got Loserbear who's also an Evelynn main as well. So these are obviously they are people who know how to play these champions. So while we think that we're favoured towards the Vanguard comp, we've got comfort picks on both sides. And at this point, we're going to see, you know, who is ultimately better on their comfort picks, who is the more comfortable in this situation.
Yeah, I think Rory nailed it on the head as well. Early game, going to go to sniper spot.
I just want to bring up something. So you've both been anti-Udyr. I don't think that's fair. Udyr has classically, even before his rework, countered Evelynn because he has guaranteed crowd control when he hits her. He now has an invulnerability to crowd control using his passive on his E. His passive on his Ram stance. So she can't charm him, and he just gets to invade every day of the week before level 11, when Eve can actually match him.
Yeah, and I suppose he will potentially have the stand united for the Shen as well in case there is a fallback from one of the lanes to help out the Evelynn, so...
So we've just been informed that it is time to get into game. So I'm going to leave you two to it, and let's see whether it's going to be Vanguards or Guttersnipes. So have fun, guys, and enjoy.
Awesome.
Thank you, Ellie Bear. As we're seeing immediately a little bit of an invade coming out. The 5-man don't think they're going to find anyone as they search through the darkness, but they're camping that bush. Will they find the jungler?
And Guttersnipes just kind of gone to their lanes, Evelynn hiding away at the Krugs. So, yeah, they're giving up a lot of ground early, though. A couple of wards kind of probably indicated to them where Vanguard are hanging out, but got to be a bit cautious of how much information you've given away.
And this is a new strat that I haven't seen before. Itemless Yuumi is a new one to me, but Sigma is a Yuumi main. Perhaps he knows a strategy I'm not sure of. It's a bit unfortunate, but we're looking immediately at the lane matchups.
I mean,
Shen
can we talk about the fact that our Evelynn doesn't have Smite and is running Ignite instead?
And Doran's Ring. Yeah, we can talk about that. So, jungle items mean you don't get the bonus EXP off killing monsters, which is critical for hitting level 2 off your first camp.
Yeah.
Loser Bear gonna have to pull off an insane kite strategy here if they want to get through these Krugs. This is already a mess for Wilberforce.
Yeah, the spell is disaster. Having a champion that really needs to get some early pressure in as well, like Evelyn, not having smite is not ideal. We also have, like you said, double exhaust down on the bot lane as well. No heal to be seen out of the bot lane, so maybe a bit of miscommunication, a little bit of nerves, early jitters coming into game 1 of the group stage as we see that Varus looks poking through very strongly in the bot lane.
Yeah, and Sigma already blowing the cleanse on Yumi. Unfortunately, it doesn't target your owner. So
Good dodging, but the poke's coming through, and Varus is going to get first blood over onto the Tristana.
Yeah, and that's what you pointed out earlier. The double exhaust not providing any sustain through the heal that they would normally be running, and the Tristana's not able to flash fast enough, so the piercing arrow just tags her and takes her down.
Yeah, and we mentioned earlier, you've got to worry about that burst potential coming out of the Varus and looks in the bot lane. Gwen trying to get a bit frisky, and Evelyn's up here now, but I think Loser Bear is probably just looking to try and grab some XP and get up to level 2 right now, not being able to finish a single camp, and definitely in a tough spot in terms of how this early game is going to go.
Yeah, and because of this blunder by Loser Bear, not going smite, not being able to do even a third camp yet, it just means Panda's been able to just have a tear, took the Evelyn's entire... Oh no, going
Watch that,
aggressive.
Tristana rocket jump in straight onto the Lux as well, and there goes the reset, so the bomb was completed, but exhaust comes through, and the damage is returned. Tristana falls again, and Yumi, of course, doesn't have any kind of mobility, not a good champion to be left alone. Auto attacks follow through, and a double kill going with the Varus. That's 3 kills already on pair going into the start of this game.
And Wilberforce, you gotta use your summoners! You got 2 exhausts, use them on the Varus. You might have been able to pick up the Lux, but as my point earlier stands...
Oh, the Evelyn has been hunted down now as well. Flashpoint already, but Udyr is going to keep that chase up, and Shen with the taunt hits it perfectly. Udyr gets the stun to follow. Shen W is going to put in some blocks, but eventually the Ignite will not be enough from Evelyn. Weren't even used. Follow up onto Gwen, and that's another 2 kills. 5-0 already, and both of those kills being picked up by the Shen. So that's going to be a very, very difficult top lane for Gwen to deal with, I think.
And Panda has almost 5 times Loser Bear's CS as this tear through the jungle continues. Perfect shadow dash there from the Shen, getting just the tip of it, managing to land the taunt and guaranteeing the kill onto the Eve.
Yeah, and we already see a 4,000 gold lead in favor of Vanguard. I don't think I've seen a lead develop this quickly, and maybe it was due to the Ignite of the Evelyn. But now in the top lane, trying to again soak up some more of that XP. And Udyr maybe gonna look for an early dragon here, you think?
Yeah, it's almost guaranteed. It's a bit spooky because they don't have priority. K6 Vanguard don't have priority. But with no fear of it getting stolen because they don't have a smite, it's pretty free just to start up.
Yeah, and Nebi's got full control over this mid lane. I think Seraphine being a great answer into Vel'Koz, and both are kind of artillery mages in their own right. The Q does land though, and the binding will lock Tristana in place. Yumi hopped off immediately saying, "You can die, I'm not dying this time." The piercing arrow comes through, and Pear already on a rampage.
And that is just the pure lethality of that early Dirk being picked up by so many kills on the Varus. He's so far ahead. Just means that piercing arrow combined with the W active.
Taunt lands again. Shen looking for a trade early in this run. Gwen no ultimate available yet. And sure, Gwen might be immune, but that doesn't help with the melee damage. And does get away on just over 200 HP with that one.
Unfortunately for Calcium Deficient, this Gwen counterpick into the Shen isn't really working out so far. As Dragon is picked up, and I think it's the first of many for K6 Vanguard as they have complete control right now.
Yeah, they're winning every lane. If we look at Loser Bear, unfortunately, still only on 8 CS, has managed to grab a pair of boots, and that's about it. I think playing the two mana in the top lane is kind of their only hope right now. But
oh no,
Loser Bear
almost died to Krugs.
Krugs is a scary camp.
It is. It's the second hardest camp to take on Eve, the hardest being Gromp. I'm surprised Loser Bear's not just trying to cycle their Raptors here as Army almost caught out. A6 just ignoring that tower completely, walking through to steal this blue buff.
Yeah, I mean, they're making sure they're doing things safe as well, despite having the guaranteed lead. We see a taunt coming in on top lane, though. Another aggressive trade, and Gwent trades back quite efficiently with that one. So Calcium deficient, not deficient in that particular trade.
No, and honestly, this lane is expected to be Shen favored until Gwen manages to get her first mythic. She just can't do the sustained damage to beat all of that. There's a trade going on.
Yeah, the Bammies in there, of course, doing a lot of damage with this one. Magic damage is going to help out early. Evelyn's here to threaten some kind of engage damage, but all she's really got to offer right now is the charm. Of course, Loser Bear, no items in the bank yet. Low mana for the Varus, but the binding hits and looks has enough burst damage alone to scare Cammy away again. And cleanse used by Yuumi in that engagement, not exhaust.
Important cooldown, no exhaust yet.
Yeah. Oh, the arcane comet! The arcane comet. Oh.
That's very scary for Kami here. As actually, maybe this looks. Use the bush. No. I thought she was going to go for it. Oh, find the top lane.
Oh, back over to the top side. Udyr already picked up the kill, and of course it is a 2v2. But Evelyn, Loser Bear, not really a second champion in this matchup. And that's going to be Rift Herald switched into immediately. Seraphine, of course, being able to push the advantage in mid, and Nebby roams up quite quickly as well. So it's going to be a quick objective. And where would you put the Rift Herald then, Rory, if you were in Vanguard's position right now?
Oh, you just path immediately bot lane. So the tower's currently got 2 plates in bot lane. Wilberforce cannot defend it right now. I don't like taking this tower here. I don't like summoning Herald top. Mostly because you're using Shen not really as a... Well, you're using him as a split pusher, but he doesn't have the most insane tower push.
Yeah.
Whereas you can stick a Varus in the side lane and always have a Shen ult available to back you up if you ever get into a lot of issues.
Yeah, and like you said, once you take that tower, Shen, it's much easier to overextend. We see a flash coming out with Vel'Koz in the mid, though. Barrier used as well. I think a bit prematurely on the barrier, but Vel'Koz will get away with this one and avoids the Lux Varus gank from the bot lane.
We're seeing the tier being stacked slowly by Nebby, and I think that's the issue I have, is it's being stacked slowly. Tier won't really come online until 20 minutes, and just looking at the current tempo of this game, I think you could have just gone for something much more aggressive, because you know how far ahead your team are.
I think going more aggressive would have been the right play here as well, because Vel'Koz, once you get that one item in the ultimate, it can one-shot the Seraphine pretty much with the true damage stack on the passive as well. But we see Panda lurking in the wings, ready to come back in. The flash and barrier were already burnt. Udyr is going to come in, get the free stun, lock it up. The Seraphine ult hits as well, charms towards the direction, and easily going to tank that tower. Panda says, thank you very much. I'll take another assist for the road, and then some more plates to boot as well.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Throttering, just as Panda started ganking, they used the Vel'Koz E, your only crowd control and peel, on the wave just to last hit some CS, and that spelled death. I don't think Panda would have minded, to be honest, because Udyr goes unstoppable when he has passive up. But it was just unfortunate timing.
Yeah, more patient shots and ease coming from Lux. A bit rusty on the skills for some of the champions. You'll have to forgive my my knowledge a bit there. But yeah, Tristana only just reaching a level 6 now, and maybe we'll look to engage. But no, the poke coming through again. And Lux ult, flash is used. Cammy able to skip this one.
Might look for a corrupting chain. No, deciding to hold it.
I think they're just going to push this wave, take the tower, and then maybe do a reset for the dragon, which is due to come up soon as well.
But it's hard for Wilberforce to ever think about setting up for a dragon because they have no secure. Panda does have smite, so he can't go over the wall and try and steal it that way. But the Udyr can just sprint in and take it from 900 HP, and Evelyn has no answer.
Yeah, I think they've just resigned to having the Evelyn in the top lane, and it's an Ocean Drake that is going to be started by Vanguard almost immediately as it spawns. And of all champions that you want to leave in the top lane in a 2v1, Shen's pretty solid to be up there. He's quite happy to sit in the lane, soak up that pressure.
And we haven't touched on this, but because Loser Bear's been forced to take lane EXP. Actually, Frottering getting caught out in a 1v4.
Yeah, and again, still no flash. You've got to be conscious of the fact that you don't have vision on the spot side. The bot lane's been missing for a while, and Frottering will be picked up. Another kill going over for a Vanguard, and look at these shutdowns available on 3 of these 5 champions.
But yeah, as I was just getting on, with the Evelynn with no snipe, not being able to clear her camps, she's had to join. Oh, that's a fancy camera angle. She's had to join up this Gwen, which means, oh, they managed to actually take out the Shen while we were spinning
While
around.
we were having our fancy camera, yeah, and Shen getting picked up, and that's pretty big. That is one of those shutdowns we were talking about. That's 500 gold being split, but they have overstayed, and here comes the welcome party. Flash is being burnt. I would have saved them as well. Marisol comes through. Stone CC, Seraphine not wasted, not even needed there, as Pair goes unstoppable. And Vanguard, they give up 1, but they take so much more back.
And Vanguard just resorting to the meatball round the map method, where they 4-man mid lane, and they all just run top lane to pick up easy kills. I don't know if Wilberforce wants to take this fight. There's no Varusol available for picking at the Vel'Koz
Or
up.
Seraphine not either. The Vel'Koz is going to throw some skills in, but misses them all. Tristana straight over the wall. Vel'Koz gets picked immediately. Yuumi ult is going to come through, and it's only going to root the Udyr, which isn't really a problem. And the issue isn't the abilities, it's the lack of damage available for Wilberforce right now. The Guttersnipes not having the scaling options, they're quite a bit behind it. Maybe don't realise just how far behind they are.
Yeah, and it's 3 mythics versus 1 on the teams. You cannot take that fight. Your Vel'Koz really is only doing damage at this point in the game with his Q and his passive. And this Tristana, just with only a Noon Quiver, how are you ever meant to take out these Sunfire users?
Yeah, I honestly think I would prefer the Yuumi to slink off from the Tristana right now. Let your carry get some of that XP and level up, and put the Yuumi on either the Evelynn to help them jungle now a little bit, get Luzabir into the game a bit more, or go put you on the Gwen. The Gwen's got that mythic now, can fight the Shen, and maybe try get a lead somewhere in this game, somewhere that you can latch onto and maybe play from. But right now, they look like they're still trying to play standard in a very non-standard situation.
Yeah, currently using the jungle camps to kind of funnel this Tristana, as we're actually seeing this Evelynn hiding in the fog of war.
Oh, Bond does take the bait though. He re-engages with the taunt. Evelynn's still waiting, not wanting to commit too much. The trade going okay, but the Gwen ult is through, and Evelynn gonna come through now with the charm, but can't quite land it. And Bond just gonna shrug that one off. Says, "Well, that's half of my HP, half of your HP. We'll call it a draw."
As yeah, we're just continuing to see this Shen surviving the 2v1 has actually only fallen. Oh my god,
we do
Kami!
see it engage, but the exhaust is down from both parties immediately. And look at the Stand United coming through, double kill for Pair again. And it honestly, Pair's so far ahead and doing so much damage right now. The caster is so unable to keep up with the speed at which these people are dying.
Yeah, valiant attempt from the Tristana Yuumi combo. That's the line I'll run with there. As we're seeing the Vel'Koz spawning, having to clear out this mid wave, and a danger in the top lane. The 3v2's commencing. The Evelynn has no flash, but she has the ult to try and escape this.
Yeah, maybe just abandon the Gwen on this one. Taunt doesn't land, and Gwen hops through quite tidily, but Torch is not enough. Evelynn on the prowl, but is going to be spotted. And looks Q hits. Varus picks up another kill, and Pair, legendary in this game already.
And, right, I know this isn't a regular game, but we can see why Vanguard are currently undefeated this year.
Yeah.
Because their team play and their macro, linking up with their bot lane and their jungler, they've done it very well.
Yeah.
Like, sure, it's in a regular game, but the basics are all there to success.
Yeah, they are, and sure, we can say, well, Evelynn didn't have Smite and that had an impact on the game, etc., etc., but the mid and bot lanes, which were standard lanes without jungler intervention from either side, were still ahead for Vanguard, as we do see a dive from Shen. It's going to force the Yuumi ult out, and 4 people from Guttersnipes sliding into the top lane of this map, and I don't think Bond's too intimidated.
No, Bond is very happy, mostly because they're level 11, and because Luzabir has been sitting top lane the majority of this game, they've sapped the experience from this Gwen. So the Gwen will never be the same level as Shen. Shen will always have the damage and tankiness advantage.
Yeah, like you said, taking that XP, it does hurt, and catch-up mechanics will only help a little bit. I honestly think that we need to. We're watching Tristana struggle with the wolves right now. I don't know what the answer is for the snipes. It's not to get caught in the jungle. Tristana gets melted. Seraphine and Luxult's paired together to finish that one off. And Dragon number 3 being started up.
Yeah, Loserbear getting spotted there on that control ward, but nowhere close to stealing this dragon, as that's the 3rd drag picked up. And I don't know if we'll get to Soul Point, but it could be a 22-minute Soul.
Yeah, they've pretty much executed these dragons on spawn. It's been a fantastic job so far by Vanguard. Again, despite being an unstandard game, still making sure they're very methodical in their approach. And you can see where that coach and that practices came in, and they've made sure that they've got a good handle of it. We do see Shelly getting put down in the mid lane. Gonna pop this tower. Would like to have saved the charge, but I don't think it's gonna matter too much. Now, this is where things can get risky. Sure, the poke's coming through, but unless the game ends here, then breaking it in here pre-20 minutes can be a worry, because you are going to filter that free golden XP into the lane. But Gwen trying to dodge out, and is just going to be picked off by the Shannon Varus combination. She looks behind, landing on 2. Luxul coming through as well to get a kill. Velko's looking low. Yumi going to dart out. Rocket jump for Tristana to escape as well, but they're just going to try and end the game with this, Rory.
There's no minions.
We see 2 Nexus towers fall. Nexus going to be targeted. Shento doesn't quite land, and we're going to try and get an aerial view of this one, and I think it's going to be the game over already. Vanguard's making this one a very short work, 20-minute finish. And Rory, what do you think about this one? Jesus.
I don't think I've seen a 19-minute win in the last 3 years, unless it was a surrender at 15. But I haven't seen a Nexus actually be slain before 20 minutes in a long time.
Yeah.
And sure, there were obvious mistakes in summoner spells coming through, which were a factor, but very good team play altogether, especially in the last one.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously the glaring mistake of the Evelyn not having Smite, but I don't want to take away from the performance that we've seen from Vanguard. And if you want to think about the team that you're going to look for throughout the group stages, the performance here from Vanguard, from that bot lane duo, from the mid lane, and like you mentioned yourself, Rory, the way that they rotated together as well, even in the early game when it wasn't necessary to do so, you still had your bot lane come up to roam to mid when they could. You got the Seraphine going up to Rift Herald, get that as soon as it was available as well. And the dragons were executed on spawn as well. So I think very solid performance from Vanguard.
And just quickly doing the maths, I think that Varus had about 10 kills, which is excluding like the time for setup when they were invading before minions had spawned. Actual time in lane, I think that's like a 1 kill every minute 10. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that is ridiculous, especially in a competitive environment like this one. And you, like you talked about on the desk a little bit, we had a lot of comfort picks from the side of Guttersnipes, and yeah, they may be a bit newer to the settings, but you think with comfort that they're going to be at least a little bit safer. But I think what we've seen was the panic of, well, we know we need to do something early.
Yeah.
We need to keep trying, we need to keep pushing, and unfortunately it just didn't quite work out for them.
What I'm scared is, Vanguard, the AD carry is a Misfortune main. What happens when that Misfortune gets through ban phase? That must be terrifying to lane into.
Well, yeah, but in this circumstance, I actually think Varus is the safer choice. With the way that Tristana can just jump on you as well, Misfortune doesn't deal with that pressure as well as the Varus does. So, yeah, maybe seeing pair on something a bit scarier like the Ezreal or the Misfortune would be maybe even more detrimental to play against. But I think Varus, he showed very easily, or comfortably rather, just how much he can switch between his different ADCs and still perform. And
just want to give a shout out to Bond, who was laning 1v2 the entire match and managed to be even or even up in CS. He didn't manage to catch it at the very end. That's ridiculous.
And only had 1 death. Overall was
only
a positive KD. And was still using Stan United in multiple iterations in the mid lane and in the jungle. And still keeping up with CS, like you said, which is absolutely crazy. So I did say Bond, for me, was the player to watch. And, I mean, we didn't know he'd be put into a 1v2, but definitely pulled it out.
Yeah, unfortunately, Nebby on the Seraphine didn't really have any time to come online.
Yeah.
She's more of a mid-game, late-game champion, but managed to keep up in CS. I believe Ellie's coming back in to maybe give a bit more insight into that match.
Yeah, Ellie, did you expect it to be that quick of a game?
I'm sorry, Udyr, for...
I can't hear you,
Oh,
unfortunately.
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah.
Yep, have
there we
myself
go.
muted.
There we
I'm
go.
really sorry about that. But yeah, I am sorry, Udir, for the comments that I made about you before this game. I'm an Udir believer now because that game was just... I've been watching League for about maybe 9 years now, and that was the fastest game that I've watched and not seen as like a surrender. That was I mean, the Varus. I knew the Varus was gonna pop up, and I knew it was gonna pop off. I mean, anybody who watched Worlds knew what they were getting into when Varus got picked into this game. It is worth noting though that we did see in the chat that there were 2 substitutes on the Guttersnipes team,
Oh, okay.
which is really it's so sad that, you know, the game that they've played is, and the game that they've, you know, the game that crashed down on them so badly was a game where they had 2 substitutes. You know, they've never played as a full team together. So I think I kind of want to cut them a little bit of slack.
Yeah, I don't think you can
Sure,
I don't think people should undervalue how much of an impact it has putting 2 subs on your team as well. Like, it's only a 5-person roster. That's 40% of your team not being usual team members, and that does matter. And of course, the issue with the Evelyn smite, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but that again, if that was maybe the smite, and they had the roster, maybe we would have seen a different performance from them today.
But there was a learning experience. We now know that
Yeah.
Yuumi with cleanse does not cleanse the champion she's on.
Yeah,
It's worth experimenting.
yeah.
Unfortunately, it didn't turn out to work.
I would trade that cleanse for a heal and put the cleanse on
Yeah.
your Tristana instead of running that double exhaust as well. Again, yeah, there was some scary people on Vanguard's team, but Varus is the only real person you're looking to exhaust in that matchup. So that's one of the changes I would make going forward into the group stage. It is still game 1. You know what I mean? Like, it's baby steps. Everybody trips when they start to walk. So, you know, there's still time for Guttersnipes to come into their own, I think.
There is. However, we are going to toss to a break, and then when we come back, we've got Bexhill versus Farnborough 6th. I believe we already know what side they're on. Bexhill are going to be on blue side, so let's get some MVPs in first. Rory, who was your MVP for this game? I'm going to assume it was probably Pear.
No, it wasn't. It was
Oh.
Bond. I think Bond had to be applauded. Honestly, if I had to lane 1v2 and I was a Shen, I would mental boom immediately.
Yeah.
Just even the threat of just knowing there's an invisible Evelyn somewhere, it's so stressful to lane into. So honestly, congrats.
What about you, Fluffy Bunny? Who are you giving your MVP to?
I'm going to give it over to Panda, funnily enough, on this video, which again, I wasn't given too much credit to. And not for a stellar, like, micro performance, but if you watch the game back, and you've got to bear in mind, Panda's likely the team leader as well, shot caller for this team, despite the unstandard format. Not only were the roams good, you could see how he was pulling the team around the map. I'm invading now, I'm doing Dragon now, I want to do Rift Herald now. And those solo laners were able to come and support, and the bot lane was able to support. But that all came from that communication from Panda, and making sure that despite the circumstances, things were still running as methodically as intended. So for me, the leadership takes over there, and I
respect that. I 100% respect that. Let's cut to a break, and let's see if Game 2 is going to be as spicy afterwards.